coming on a short notice. This weekend's actions were unacceptable. We're concerned for the safety and well-being of the people who were shot and are concerned for the safety of all residents of the city. We will not tolerate the disregard to the health and safety of our residents. These roving street parties have been moving around the city with people congregating on public and private property. Often fights break out and sometimes shots are fired as a result of these parties. This weekend's incidents involved multiple shooters, and let me be clear about this. Whether you're an organizer of the party or a participant, you're contributing to the problem and potentially endangering yourselves and others. Our officers have been actively engaged in working to disperse these parties, and through the work of the police department, we've been able to take more guns off the streets. Peoria is not alone in this. I have reached out to the chiefs of the smaller agencies throughout central Illinois, downstate Illinois agencies, and they've seen the same problem that we're experiencing here. Looking into the future, we do have strategies in place. I'm not going to go into details on tactics or strategies for obvious reasons. But one of the things that we will do is we will apply more resources on the street in order to address these parties. We've received several videos from this past weekend, and anyone with information on this past weekend, if you haven't done so yet, please forward that information. You can send it to the Peoria Police Department. With that, I'll turn it over to Mayor Artis.
Thank you, Chief, and also thanks to the council members who are with us this morning. I've personally spoken or communicated with the entire council over the last day, and we are all determined to address these very serious safety issues in our community. Our community expects that we will provide a safe environment to live in, and we will. Events like those that happened in the very early hours of Sunday morning were dangerous on many levels. A party prearranged on social media that brought over 200 people together at 4 a.m. in the midst of COVID is completely irresponsible. In addition to exceeding the governor's executive order of 50 people, there was little to no personal protective equipment seen in any of the videos available. There are many residential dwellings within very close walking distance of this area of our riverfront. This activity would not be allowed in any other part of our community, and it won't continue there. I will continue to ask for the community to help us demand accountability for these actions. This should not all fall in the laps of our police department. I'd also like to thank Pastor Hightower and Pastor Johnson and Pastor Washington who are here with us this morning. Their leadership in this community is critical to assist us in getting these messages for our entire public safety delivered. Now I'd like to introduce our State's Attorney, Jody Booth.
Thank you. I want to just emphasize a few things that the mayor said there at the end. I know this probably isn't visible from those of you watching it on TV, but for those of us in this room here, if you take a look around, we come from all different walks of life, different races, different religions, and different roles in the community. But despite all those differences, we are united on one thing, and that is that this is unacceptable. And we will prosecute those responsible for this, and we will hold them accountable. Thank you. Turn it over to Councilwoman Moore.
Good morning. It's unfortunate we have to be here yet again today to talk about what's going on in our community. As I've said earlier, the entirety of the First District is impacted by what's going on in our community. Not just the riverfront, not just the south side, not just the North Valley. The entirety of the First District doesn't want to see this continue. You've heard a lot about accountability. The accountability rests on all of us, not just the police, not just the businesses, not just the residents. We all play a part in what is called a community, and it is all of us that's going to have to help make this a better place for us to live. If we have cousins and sisters and brothers and nieces and nephews and children who you know are being out at this time of night, let them know how concerned you are about their safety. We want them to come home alive. We want to be able to make sure that their children see them as adults. And to those who are out partying at these times of nights, I'm not opposed to a party. And all of us in this room who are older than a few years will remember the parties that we had. We'll remember that there were times we were cruising up and down streets. There were times when we were drinking when we shouldn't have been drinking. So no one is better in this room. And we've all been there to some degree. But I think what is important is that we're all here today because we came home safe. And what is happening, it is not everybody. I said to someone the other day, it's not all 200 people that were there. No, they should not have been gathering because of COVID. But it wasn't all 200 people. We can't paint everybody with a broad brush. There were several individuals who we need to reach out to make sure they understand this is unacceptable behavior. And so, to that end, Ms. Clark from PCAF has announced that there's going to be a walk from Harrison Homes this Thursday at 6 o'clock. A peaceful walk, just to demonstrate that we're taking our community back. How many times have we said we're taking our community back? This time, let's bring the community into this walk as well. It's not just those who are part of PCAF. Everybody is invited, no matter where you live or what you look like. You are invited to this PCAF walk. We have to put our egos aside. There are members in our community, believe it or not, who can help. And maybe they've had perhaps a checkered past in the past, but that's the past. Let's get beyond that. We've got members of our community like Terry Burnside and Carl Holloway who are willing and ready to step up. We've got other members of our community who are on quite the opposite. Chief Marion Boone, DeMarco Boone, and Officer Duncan. They've been integral to our community trying to make a change. We've got folks like Derek Booth and the Wraparound Center. Some of this has to do with mental illness, and we have to make sure that we are putting enough resources into that aspect. Some of this have to do with just the poverty and despair people are feeling in their community. We have to address that. Turning a blind eye to that is not going to make it go away. These things just don't disappear. I want to thank Jesse McGowan and the Young Revolution and Black Lives Matter. All of these groups are integral to our community and should be respected and listened to. But no one has a magic bullet. No one has an endless checkbook. We all need to come together as one. Finally, some of you may hear from a gentleman that I know, that many of you know, who wants to be out after midnight and assisting with talking to our community. His name is Gary Moore, so some of you may get a call from him. I asked him to visit with the chief to make sure that things are safe. He was upset with me when I was out after midnight at the MacArthur Shell because I was trying to be a part of the solution. And he decided we need to have our men from the community and our pastors who are always in the trenches and the Young Revolution and the Black Lives Matter. We need to have all of our community together. This is more than just someone getting the spotlight and somebody's name being out front. It's not about that. We are way beyond that. If we don't come together as one community, we will fall as one community. Thank you.